In the peaceful kingdom of Gardemo, in Curious Town, a woman enters a pharmacy carrying a basket and asks if the medicine is ready. A cheerful young apprentice named Rot eagerly replies that she is apprenticing as a pharmacist at Rushinda's pharmacy. Inside the pharmacy, Rot confirms that the medicine is a patch for the customer's husband's back pain. The customer asks if Rushinda has returned yet, but Rot explains that Rushinda is her master and is currently away. She advises the customer to visit a doctor if the condition doesn't improve. The conversation continues with Rot explaining that Rushinda said she'd be back in about a week, but the Dragonia Mountains nearby are dangerous due to frequent monster appearances. The Dragon Knight Order handles these threats. Rot's master has been asked to accompany the knights, making her absence tough, but since Rot is a capable assistant, she can manage the pharmacy alone. She reminds the customer to take care of their health before they leave. Later, Rot sits alone at a desk, flipping through a book and determined to get back to studying. She hears a child call for their mommy and quietly hopes her master returns soon, while a mother and child share a happy moment nearby. The scene continues. The scene continues. The scene continues. The scene continues. She notices he looks uncomfortable and decides to make the lamp's light a little darker. Gently, she asks if he is all right, her eyes wide and concerned. He mutters that her eyes are sparkling like stars, caught by their brightness despite his discomfort. The next morning, she wonders if he was half asleep when she spoke to him. Strainvert, whose fever had gone down, leaves with his subordinates. She thinks he might be visiting nearby villages after dealing with monsters. A neighbor warns her to be careful since she is a girl alone. Mentioning a strange person lurking around lately, she quietly hopes for her master's return soon. Hearing footsteps on the stairs, she wonders if bandits are coming up. Panic rises as she realizes she must escape immediately. She tries to break the lock on the door, desperate to flee, while the intruders close in. She narrowly escapes detection, relieved but aware of the danger. As she flees outside, she recalls gathering herbs on cliffs during her master's errands. Grateful her pharmacist training might help now. Armed only with her mother's knife and herb-gathering tools, she hides in the bushes, waiting for morning and hoping her pursuers have left. Returning to the pharmacy, she finds the shelves ransacked and feels a sinking horror. She knows she must stay calm and first consult the doctor, but worries she won't be able to provide medicine if trouble continues. Determined, she resolves to find a solution despite the chaos. Suddenly, a group arrives, and a man named Strainvelt expresses relief at her safety, ordering his men to take her away. She struggles and questions the meaning of this, suspecting a connection between these men and the bandits from before. Confused and alarmed, she demands to know what is happening as they forcibly remove her. A man urgently corrects her, calling her not Latte but a princess, revealing she carries the blood of the royal family of Saronia. Shocked, she stammers in confusion, asking what he means by princess as he insists she lift her head. She tries to deny it, insisting he must be mistaken, but he explains that others already know about the princess's existence. She protests, saying there's no proof she is that princess, not even from her late mother or her master, overwhelmed by the revelation. The man points to her eyes as proof, a rare hue between blue and purple with golden stars visible only in dark places. She recalls her master warning her to hide those eyes to avoid being kidnapped or sold, and the memory flashes back to a time when her master urged her to wear special glasses at night. The man, now introducing himself as Urek, urges her to come to the royal palace, explaining the shop is dangerous and a new apothecary has been arranged while she waits for her master. Overwhelmed, she shakes her head, worried about causing trouble for the townspeople, realizing how swiftly nobles handle matters. She contemplates that staying in the shop would be dangerous, but imagines how overjoyed the king will be when he meets the princess. The man explains that aside from the queen, the king is her only living relative. She realizes she still has family by blood. Despite her gratitude toward her master, who is like family to her, she admits she wants to meet the king. The man cheerfully assures her preparations are complete and insists on making sure she is ready immediately. A maid confirms everything is set. Dressed simply for the trip, she wonders if princesses really spend their time in such dresses. She is overwhelmed by the simplicity and worries about making a bad impression. As she looks out, she quietly wonders what she should say when meeting the king, aware they will be leaving Grace soon. Suddenly, a loud clatter draws their attention. The maid asks if something stopped, and she questions if she can truly be part of the family. A monstrous boar charges at their carriage, forcing the horses to swerve wildly as they brace for impact. Rot's eyes widen in surprise as she watches a man confidently mount a massive dragon. She is captivated, whispering in awe. The man's calm, focused expression contrasts with the dragon's powerful form, emphasizing the incredible bond between rider and beast. She can't help but think how amazing this sight is. The man grips the reins firmly, guiding the dragon with ease. Rot stares up in wonder, overwhelmed by the sheer strength radiating from both rider and dragon. She silently questions how such power can exist, her admiration growing as the dragon's claws and wings dominate the scene. The man leaps onto the dragon with precision, gripping the reins firmly as the beast growls fiercely. His calm, focused gaze contrasts the dragon's raw power as he prepares to confront the charging threat. Silence falls over the forest as the man stands beside the subdued monster, the tension lingering. A knock at the door breaks the quiet, and a worried man asks the Earl what brought him here. The Earl questions the visitor's purpose with steady resolve. Inside, the visitor explains a rookie soldier failed to slay a monster deep in the forest, which has now come this far. The Earl apologizes for involving others, noting that if his friends in Kiliai's met the creature, they'd be terrified by its appearance. The visitor orders increased guard if a young lady is traveling with the Earl, asking their destination. The Earl replies they are returning to the royal capital and will depart when ready. The young lady listens intently, prompting the visitor's nervous glance as he wonders if she's the one being spoken about. She asks who the Earl was, closing the conversation as preparations begin. The young woman reacts with surprise, questioning the identity of the captain. A man reveals the captain is Reginald Van Carl, leader of the Saronia Kingdom's Dragon Knights. Contrasting with the older man the princess remembered, he warns there are complicated reasons behind this change, leaving her confused. The man hesitates, thinking it's best not to ask more. The princess wonders if it's truly acceptable for Reginald to come so far. The man admits he wishes he could say yes, but it's complicated, while a woman beside him quietly agrees. The man explains that the Dragon Knights' numbers have been shrinking for years, despite their popularity and admiration for their skill and protection. The entrance exam is always crowded, regardless of status or gender, and in Garudimo Kingdom, the Dragon Knights are especially cherished, notably among women. The princess asks if the same is true in Saronia Kingdom. The man and woman reveal that the current king claims dragons are no longer needed in the human world. A puzzling stance, the princess questions why, while the man solemnly states the king lacks the eyes of the star, implying a deeper disconnect. The princess questions the importance of the eyes of the star, learning they are like her own eyes that bear the stars. The map shows the Garudimo and Saronia kingdoms, with Saronia having the closest connection to dragons. Aaron, the first to contract with a dragon, became Saronia's first king. She recalls from a picture book how long ago dragons and humans made a contract when the world was full of magical powers. Dragons could transform into humans with magic, and their bond grew strong. Over time, magical powers faded, but dragons and humans continued to live and fight together. Their bond deepened into love, and even now they protect the ancient ties. A man explains that those destined to become dragon knights possess a dragon's bloodline. The princess learns this is a sign of the Saronia royal family, where the eyes of the star appear as a mark of the strong dragon bloodline. The bond between dragons and humans is symbolized by the eyes of the star. The current king inherited the name Aaron from the first king, but only his younger brother, the previous king, bore the eyes of the star, a sign of the royal family's dragon bloodline. The previous king has passed away, and perhaps because of this, the current king dislikes dragons. Dragons are seen as monsters, so using their power to fight monsters feels wrong, causing the number of dragon knights to decline. Joining the Dragon Knight Order means opposing the king's beliefs. The reason Reginald became captain so young is that no suitable people remained above him. Despite dragons not attacking people, and dragon knights supposed to protect them, the shortage of knights forces Reginald to lead on the battlefield himself. The princess and her companion find this strange. The man agrees the captain must be enduring many hardships. The princess asks permission to get down to thank Reginald for saving her, and the man kindly agrees. The princess warmly thanks Reginald for escorting them so far and for earlier help. He asks if she came down just to say that, and internally admires how devastating his charm is. She thinks everyone's heart must skip a beat around him, but he insists it's just their job and tells her not to worry. She asks the dragon's name, and he reveals it is Laturka, causing her to blush in surprise. The princess playfully calls Laturka cold, and Reginald scolds the dragon for rudeness. She recalls the name Laturka from a picture book. Reginald confirms it was the name of the star that shone when Saronia's first king formed a contract with the dragon. She thanks Laturka for saving her and remarks on the name's importance to the country. Reginald notes it's rare for him to warm up to someone so quickly, and she suggests the dragon senses her gratitude, happily petting him despite his shy reaction. He warns her she'll get dirty, gently holding the dragon's reins. She thanks Reginald and Laturka warmly, her smile bright and grateful. He replies simply, and she nods, touched by his kindness. His smile dazzles her so much she's flustered and quickly declares she'll return to the carriage. The dragon snuffles quietly nearby, while she marvels at the power of his smile. As the carriage prepares to leave, Reginald expresses hope they can talk again. The princess hesitates, then speaks up about the need for both dragons and dragon knights. Surprising the attendants, she insists dragons and humans can understand each other, making their partnership essential. Night falls as she reflects on their conversation, calling their bond a wonderful relationship not to be wasted. She wishes she could tell the king and hopes to discuss it with him once they become family. Arriving at the royal palace, she recalls feeling an emptiness inside her, hoping it would be filled. Yet, despite her new status, she still wonders if this is truly real. Being a princess feels strange and uncertain. A man remarks that she reminds him of the previous king, suggesting a connection if the current king is her relative. He urges her to proceed. As His Majesty awaits, nervous, she admits she doesn't know how to behave around a king and wonders if this will be a problem. Expecting the throne room, she is surprised when led to someone's room instead, introduced as Latte, a former apothecary from Ice. Inside, she faces a stern man who commands her to raise her head and close the curtains. Overwhelmed, she questions if this is truly His Majesty. Finding him intimidating, the atmosphere grows tense as the curtains close, sealing the room in quiet solemnity. The man insists she not close her eyes and asks if she wants to be recognized as royalty. She denies it, but he points out her eyes bear the mark of the star. When asked about her father, she reveals he died before she was born and she only knows what she was told. Despite her royal blood, he confesses he does not know whose child she truly is. He asks about her mother and she reveals her mother also passed away. She explains her mother was an apothecary, and she is studying pharmacy under her mother's master. She lived in Ice after her master opened a shop there. When asked her age, she quietly replies she just turned 15. He speculates that if his uncle abandoned her mother and her, then his uncle is likely her father. He describes the uncle as free-spirited, matching the time he was in the kingdom of Gardemo. If the uncle's partner was an apothecary, it explains why she wasn't taken along. He coldly states an illegitimate child is nothing but trouble and that it would have been better if she had never been found. She is told the name Latte is too common, so from now on she must call herself Charlotte. She hesitates, feeling this name is important, given by her mother. The man believes that if allowed, the princess's mother would have named her Charlotte. He explains that among nobles, Latte is a nickname for Charlotte, and as long as she has the eyes of the star, he will recognize her as royalty. He warns it would be a nuisance if she were left alone and used by others. She wonders if this is true, feeling this is nothing like what Steenveld said. Realizing she is not being welcomed at all alone, she silently counts repetitions of a physical exercise, her tension and frustration mounting. She counts her repetitions silently, feeling abandoned and questioning her purpose here. A maid announces Steenveld's arrival, and she rushes to answer. The man informs her a tutor has been assigned to prepare her for a debut, which surprises her. The maid cheerfully confirms the tutor will teach her many things for this debut. She wonders if this is really necessary, feeling burdened by the formalities. The man insists that someone with the eyes of the star like hers doesn't exist in the current royal family. He declares a grand debut is needed to announce her existence. A woman explains the count is respected for being her guardian, and the man excitedly demands luxurious dresses and jewels. She questions if that's all. The woman recounts a secret conflict over the crown prince, explaining the count supported the previous King Klaus and was treated coldly when the new king took over. The count was sent as an envoy to distant lands. Explaining his wounds upon arrival in Ice, she feels overwhelmed, sensing she's being dragged into secret schemes. She contemplates whether she should try to be useful to the king since she has come this far, hoping to stay positive and maybe become friends with the wary count. She asks if her efforts are enough while the man sighs, leaving her uncertain but determined.